copy of that, that's for you to sign. 5, another messianic passage in the Hallelujah chorus. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, unto us, and there it is. That's signed to you before, lines 5. So again, I think you have here the hope for a proper, just ruler. And his dominion will be without end, and he will occupy the throne of David. So that's really a pretty big messianic prophecy, or allusion. And from this time onward and forever, the jealous love of the Lord of hosts will do this. And he will establish him and make justice and integrity secure. So these passages jump out at you, and they jumped out to the person back then. Anyway, back to the present history. All the people of Ephraim and all the inhabitants of Samaria know it. And Aram in the east, and the Philistines in the west. Philistines are along the seacoast. Aram is the sea. So again, it's not Greece, it's not Rome, it's not even the Medes and the Persians. More about the prophet's lying visions, line 15. And all the people being godless, line 20. Manasseh devours Ephraim, Ephraim devours Manasseh. Both attack Judah. Everyone's at odds with each other. Now, more about injustice. People who legislate badly, tyrannically, chapter 10, refuse justice, cheat the poor, make widows their prey, rob the orphans. Anyway, there's going to be a day of judgment for all those people. Day of punishment. But it is in the Assyrian period, I think. Line 5, woe to Assyria, the root of my anger, a godless nation. Why? Because they're going to come and do all the cutting. In his heart only to destroy, line 7, cutting nations to pieces without limit. And Carchemish is one of the towns in Syria. Hamath, he knows the sounds. More idols, Jerusalem and Samaria. For him, they're both bad. Jerusalem and Samaria are both bad. But he knows they're separate. Samaria north, Jerusalem south. And the king of Assyria is obviously line 12 being anticipated. Line 20. But in the end, this Shar Yeshub, a remnant will survive. The name God told him to call his son. They will survive. They will stop relying on the man who beats them or deceives them, and they will rely on Yahweh, and a remnant will return, even the remnant of Jacob in the north. And your people will be as sand on the seashore, but only a remnant will return. Now, a lot of people in Israel today think they're the remnant. That I will say that they do think that they're the remnant that has returned. And this did motivate them. You have to believe that this certainly motivated them. Prophecies of this kind. Line 32 of chapter 10. First of all, the Assyrian army is coming. Line 24. My people who are living in Zion, don't be afraid of the Assyrians who have a rod and a club. They're coming in Ramon. You feel the army coming. In Migron, the baggage trains are at Michmash. These are outlying towns. They bivouac in Geba, Ramaquace, Gibeah. That's where Saul was, where I lived outside of Jerusalem to the north. Takes flight. He will shake his fist at the mountain of the daughter of Zion against the hill of Jerusalem. See, the Lord of hosts hews down the boughs with a crash. The heights are cut down. The proudest are brought down. The forests of the thickets fall beneath the house. Lebanon and its splendor collapse. But a shoot springs from the stock of Jesse. A scion thrusts from its roots. And then this is more messianic prophecy that we're familiar with about, messianic ideas. Now look, that passage, line 33, is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it is being applied to the destruction of Jerusalem in their own time. And it's in the rabbinic writings too. And they've taken it out of context and they apply it. And then that's also followed by this messianic material. It's in the Isaiah commentary in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's why the scrolls are so relevant, to show you what people think. They pick these passages out, but they don't think that there's going to be a Messiah that doesn't like Jews. They don't think that. They think there's a Messiah that's coming and is going to destroy all their enemies. Which I'm not saying he would, I'm just giving you what their interpretation. The day the root of Jesse will stand, in other words, the Davidic kingship, and this is where this Davidic kingship idea really takes off here. In line 11, the Lord will raise his hand once more, and the remnant, there we go, the remnant, always the remnant will be ransomed, basically, from Assyria and Egypt and these other places. And the outcasts of Israel, the scattered people of Judah, will be brought back, you see. Ephraim will stop being jealous of Judah, but the two, you see, are still separate, so it's before the destruction of them completely in the prophet's mind. Ephraim will no longer be jealous of Judah, and Judah no longer the enemy of Ephraim. So I think that's pretty clear that I don't have to keep on. Ephraim and Judah are two different areas, right? And most people never even heard of Ephraim. Now, if you ask people about, have you ever heard of Ephraim? What? And the prophets, they know the other prophets, but they don't know that Ephraim, where it is, what the problem is, and so on. Philistines are still on the seacoast, Ammonites inland, Edom and Moab. And so he will stretch his hand over the river, line 15, and men will cross dry shod. That's an image of the parting of the Red Sea. A pathway for the remnant of the people. That's sort of their return, if you like. That's going to be picked up in the second part of Isaiah, and that might be the actual inspiration, where the pathways, make my pathways. Chapter 40 almost picks up from there, yeah.
Now, you were talking about how some of the Israelites think they're the remnant that return.
No, I don't think Israel, country of Israel today, not Israelites. They don't call themselves Israelites. Israelis.
Israelis, okay.
Yeah.
It says like they would be, one country, like it mentions in Ezekiel and all. Do they think that's their return to the land? Or some of them?
The ones who read this will think that, yeah. The ones who read this Bible, yeah. But I'm not sure how many. I would say of the present people in Israel, 25% maybe.